Right now I am going to create a little bit of space over here in my living room to work on this baby bed. It is very yellow. I need space upstairs because there are so many things that I need to finish. I need to finish the wallpaper, the floor, the wainscoting, and probably some other things. So I'm going to move all kinds of projects down here, and I am very hopeful that I can get some momentum going. I'm very hopeful that I can actually finish all kinds of things in the next few coming days. I am a bit upset with myself at the moment because I actually wasted quite a bit of time on a sewing basket project. Last week I already told you that I was planning to fix up this vintage sewing basket that I found in the thrift store. Do you remember the sewing baskets? I wasted more than 2 full days on this sewing basket project only to decide that I did not like it at all. So when it was completely finished, I took it apart again and I started from scratch. This very simple little sewing basket project turned into a very big quest of me trying to create something that looks vintage. Apparently, this is not all that easy. So maybe you guys can go watch all of the struggles that I had with the sewing basket, and then in the meanwhile I am going to do something that is actually important, like sanding and painting this piece of furniture. Wish me luck, I'm going to need it. This is a vintage sewing basket that I found in a thrift store. I think I paid €3 for it, 3.5, something like that. And I think this is a great solution, storage solution, especially if you can find yourself a sewing basket that still has this little compartment in it. So yeah, I am excited about this little project. This lid, I don't think that this is the original lid of this basket. It is a little bit too small, and I don't know what happened over here, but this is just, I don't know how to say it in a very nice way, but it is hideous. Absolutely hideous. So I think with the lid I am just going to start over. I am going to make a completely new lid for this basket, and I am also going to paint it. I don't know how it is going to turn out, but we will see. I am going to start with taking all of this apart. I have to be honest, I think it is a bit of a shame because this is actually the only part of the sewing basket that I like. I love this vintage fabric, but it is a horrible fit with the fabric that I am planning to use for the new lid that I'm going to make. Right now I am willing to do pretty much anything if it means that I don't have to cut all of the wallpaper edges to size. this very ugly garden chair seat pillow thing. I bought this in a thrift store. €1 and 95 cents. The plan that I had with this was, or is actually, to take the inside out because it is quite thin but also quite fluffy, and I want to use it on the top of the lid of the sewing box underneath the fabric. Ooh! I think I'm very lucky. The inside of this pillow looks very promising. There are actually 2 different layers. This very firm one in the middle, and then there's a little bit more fluff on top. Maybe this part is a little bit too thick for the sewing basket that I am fixing up today. Although if you squish it together, there's not a whole lot of it. It's very soft. Still, I think that I'm going to keep this for the bigger sewing baskets that I have, and I'm going to use 1 or 2 layers of this on today's basket, and I think that this is going to work out very well actually. I was not expecting to have so many options. What a great buy this was. Bargain actually. All of this for not even €2. I actually did a very bad job on making a perfect circle. There are humps and bumps everywhere. This is going to disguise it a little bit. I do think that I am going to need 2 layers.
Life's a coat of many colors. It is never black and white. Can't have one without the other. The dark without the light.
I don't need to keep a long strip of this fabric. We also have this.
With a flame our hearts would burn. A flame the autumn would smother and leave this heart to yearn forever blue, forever blue. I'm putting on a show for the world to see. No one will ever know that without you I'm forever blue.
So what I am doing is every single time I take kind of the middle in between 2 staples, and then I pull it nice and tight, and then I'm hoping for the best. It is kind of important that these lines are straight. Right now they are definitely not. I should have paid a little bit more attention actually. It's okay. It's okay because I actually have a plan for something else that I want to do to this lid. I don't think that you are going to see all of the wonkiness. The wonkiness in these lines. It is pretty bad actually. I would love to be able to stitch the handle, the fabric on the handle of this sewing basket in the same way as they previously had it.
I'm putting on a show for the world to see. No one will ever know that without you I'm forever blue. Yeah, I'm putting on a show for the world to see. No one will ever know that without you I'm forever blue.
If you have seen more of my videos, you know that I can't stop buying little things like this. I just love these little crocheted things. This is such a fun little project. figure out the middle, and I need to figure out what I want to do over here. %95 of all of this I found for free outside in the trash. Just all kinds of things. All kinds of things. So let's see. I don't know what this tampon was doing in my secret stash of hardware. I don't really have anything in the brass color that I was looking for. That's a bit disappointing because there's so much in this box. Option number 1, I would have to paint this in the same color, I think, as this. I don't think that I have paint in this color. Option number 2 is this adorable, whimsical wooden one that I actually quite like. I could paint this in the same color as the basket. It is not white. It is not going to be white, by the way, the basket. It is a little bit of a creamy white. Option number 3 is this one, but I think it is a bit too small and a bit too romantic. All of this is already quite romantic, I think, for a baby nursery. So far I like this one the most. This lid is actually a little bit bigger, even though I used the old lid as a template. I made the cut all around the outside of the line, and of course I also have 2 layers of this all around it. 22.5. That's 11.25. 11.25 is over here. This is 11. More than 11. Kind of 11. It's a very delicate operation. This is going to be it. Great. There's nothing that makes me more nervous than a sewing machine. No. Oh, this is itty bitty tiny. I never remember which button makes the stitches bigger. Oh, found it. Oh boy. This will probably go terribly, terribly wrong. It was going very well. Oh no. Oh. It's just my needle. It came out, but it's in one piece. So probably it was not very stuck to begin with. Ooh, this is very promising. If I can manage to get this needle in a little bit more firmly, then maybe I can actually make this look very beautiful. It's all very dusty. That's not a very good sign for a sewing machine, is it? So much fun. Yeah. And that's what I was trying to do. Okay. This was totally useless. Will probably go a lot better if you just don't look. Nothing is happening. I'm not going to stop anymore, but I have to. I'm so stressed. Why am I so stressed? This is just the most amazing little vintage box. It has all kinds of things in it. Everything is very old. Vitamin C. Oh! Now take a look at this. Wow. I never looked inside of this little thing. I don't know why. I actually really like this container. What a shame to have it in this box. This would look very nice in my little glass cabinet. This is new, this tiny little bottle. And I actually think that this looks very nice together. This is very cool, I think. This is a telegram. It is from the 50s, I believe. Yes, 55. Anyway, all kinds of quirky little things. I don't know if these needles are the same as the needle that came out. If they are the same, I probably should be able to do the other half of the handle. The sewing job that I did on this thing is definitely not perfect, but I can't say that it is very bad either. I can't really do anything with this yet, because first I have to finish the paint job. Let's do a quick little jump into the future. I am making some progress on the little baby bed, but progress is very, very slow. The sewing basket project. I stopped filming that day. I finished the entire basket. After that I went to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, I looked at this basket and I was thinking, this is not it. It is a vintage basket, even though maybe it did not look very vintage to begin with. But just losing all of that completely just felt horribly wrong. I think I was so focused on creating something for the baby nursery, and I was so focused on sticking to certain colors and a certain style that I completely lost the vision that I needed for keeping the vintage alive. I think for me it is quite a big challenge, and I love myself a little bit of a challenge. So I am willing to try all kinds of things. I am willing to do all kinds of experiments with running the risk that all of those things go horribly wrong. So I decided to put the whole baby nursery focus on a side burner, and I decided to just fully commit to the challenge of turning this basket into something that has a vintage feel. What I tried was all kinds of different fabrics. I tried different kind of little knobs on the top to see if this would make a difference, and it was getting a little bit better, but not quite what I was looking for, until I remembered that I had this. Whether you think this is beautiful or not is up for debate, but I think we can all agree on the fact that it has a very high vintage level. This is a vintage curtain that I bought in a thrift store a couple of weeks ago. I already figured out that the color blue is very difficult to use if you want to create something that has a vintage feel. I have to do a little bit more research about this, but it would not surprise me if the color blue is actually quite a rare color when it comes to all things vintage. So I already decided that using blue was probably not a wise thing to do, but in the end I came to the conclusion that color alone is also not going to do it. You definitely need something that has a certain shape. Besides colors and shapes, I also came to the conclusion that just trying to create something beautiful is not going to cut it. I think when it comes to vintage, you definitely need to look beyond what you usually see as beautiful. When I saw this curtain in the thrift store, not a single cell in my brain thought, ooh, that's beautiful. No, I thought, wow, this is vintage. I grabbed it and I took it home, even though, if I'm completely honest, I'm not a fan of the colors, and I don't know, something about it is actually quite ugly. I guess I was just in love with the feel and not per se all that focused on the beauty. And this is why I think that vintage is so interesting, because it is something that makes you look beyond the things that are normally quite obvious. And I also think that you need to step out of your comfort zone a little bit if you want to figure out how to design vintage, unless of course it is something that is completely natural for you. I think that probably people like that do exist. I am not one of those people. Do I think that I created the perfect vintage sewing basket? No. Do I think that there is room for improvement? Definitely. Do I think that I am making progress? Yes. So this is how the basket turned out. Am I completely in love with the sewing basket? No. I actually think that it's still quite boring. I decided that I don't have time right now to spend days and days on this ridiculous quest of mine. I have all kinds of things that I need to do. I have a crazy deadline. This is just, it was turning into insanity. So I decided to just use the very plain fabric that I used underneath the curtain for the handle. I am going to keep it in the back of my mind. Maybe in the future I'm going to spend some time to figure out how I can make this basket look a little bit more interesting, a little bit less boring. I also don't know, maybe the basket is just a very boring basket. Maybe it is not just me. I actually went to the thrift store to look for a different knob for the lid of the basket. Probably with this project I kept it a little bit too safe, but in my defense it is quite difficult to figure all of this out without buying all kinds of materials. I decided not to get a different paint color. I decided not to go out to look for all kinds of vintage fabrics. I really tried to use mainly only things that I still had lying around. I have to be honest, this was not one of my best weeks. On top of my new carpet. Oh no, this is so typical me. Oh no. No. This is not the first time that this happened to me. I think it is going to be fine. This carpet is different. Do you see anything? I don't. This carpet has no issue whatsoever with all of my happy little accidents. Besides all of the struggles, like always, it was my pleasure to entertain you. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye!